Okay, hello, what is up, my year 9? Okay, this is a recording video for our week 1 lesson. All right, so for those who miss this lesson, okay, because I was sick. So this is the recording for it. This will be quite a short lesson. Okay, it will not be a 1 hour lesson. I'll try to keep this as short as I can. Okay, because there's not really much to say, okay, because we will start with unit 2, okay, our chapter 2, which is living things in their environment. All right, so this is what we are going to learn today, living things in the environment. All right, so what are we going to learn today? This thing is not very important in exam, okay, it's not really coming out, simply because it's too wide. Okay, because this is what we learn about certain organisms, okay, certain animals or plants in their certain habitat. How do they adapt to that habitat? Okay, and as you know, we have thousands, if not millions of types of, organisms in our surroundings. So we can't be studying them all. So we will roughly talk about a few species and roughly talk about a few examples. And that's pretty much you need to know. All right, so let's look at 2.1. Okay, so 2.1 is our plant adaptation. Okay, that means plants living in, let's say, swamp area, plants living in cold climate like snowing countries, plants living in desert, okay, very dry and hot places. Okay, how do they adapt to the environment? Okay, so what is adaptation? Okay, adaptation is ways you survive. Okay, in Mandarin it's called 适应. Okay, 适应方式，你怎样适应你的环境? How do you adapt to your environment? All right, so adaptation is how you suit yourself to the environment. For example, like humans, okay, how do we adapt to our environment? Because, okay, for example, Malaysia. Okay, Malaysia is a very humid and very warm climate. Okay, that means we don't snow here. Okay, we rain all the time. The air is very wet, very humid, and it's hot. All right, so how do we adapt to this environment? We adapt by growing our skin darker. Okay, because we have UV, we have sunlight. Sunlight gives you UV. UV is going to hurt your skin. Okay, it's going to kill your skin cell. So your skin will adapt to this by having more melanin. Melanin is that dark pigment in your skin that makes you dark. It makes you darker. And of course, we adapt to Malaysia weather by sweating, because as you know, Malaysia is a very hot country, so we sweat all the time. Okay, so as you can see, having darker skin, sweating more, this is just the adaptations to it. Okay, how do we suit ourselves to the environment? Whereas if you are living in a winter country, okay, for example, if you live in, let's say, Iceland, you have been living there for thousands of years. Okay, people that have been living there for thousands of years, so they have fair skin. Okay, you see all Western countries, okay, Western people, they have fair skin because they don't need the UV. Okay, they don't have the UV, they don't need the melanin, they don't need the dark skin. Okay, so they adapted to the environment by not having a dark skin and by not having as many sweat glands as us. They don't sweat that much as us, okay, because they have a very cold country. Okay, unless it's summer, okay, the rest of it, spring, with autumn and winter, is gonna be cold, if not very cold. Okay, so they adapt to it by not sweating a lot and by not having the melanin. Okay, so this is adaptation. So you see, plant is the same thing. So every living thing has special features that help it live in its habitat. Okay, so all the species you have seen today, they have existed for thousands, if not millions of years. Okay, they can survive until today. There must be a reason. Okay, maybe they are very good in reproducing, they are very good in surviving, okay, and so on. Okay, that's the adaptation. Okay, so every one of the organism, they have this special feature. Right, so these special features are called adaptations. Okay, how do you adapt to your environment? Okay, 你怎样适应你的环境? So number 3, a habitat is a place where an organism lives, like mangrove swamp, tropical forest, and Arctic. Okay, so these are our focus for today. And what is the habitat? Habitat is where you live lah. Okay, a living place for an organism is called a habitat. Okay, it's called a habitat. So something about this habitat. Okay, a habitat doesn't simply change. Okay, you cannot just move, let's say, an animal and you move it somewhere else, you change the habitat, they simply will not adapt and they will simply die. Okay, for example, you don't just take Malayan tiger, okay, our Malaysian tiger, you don't just take it and put it into any other forest, they will not survive. Okay, they will not survive. Even if you put it in another rainforest, they still will not survive. Okay, because they have adapted to, you know, Malaysia forest very well. You cannot just simply change their habitat like that. Okay, it's not like us. Okay, you cannot, humans, we can just move anywhere we want. Animals is not like this. Okay, they cannot just simply uproot and change where they live. Okay, it's not possible. Anyway, so let's look at this mangrove swamp. Okay, so what is this mangrove swamp? Malaysia is very famous for it. We have a lot of mangrove area because, as you know, our Malaysia, okay, Peninsula Malaysia, okay, the west side of Malaysia, we are almost fully surrounded by oceans, okay, surrounded by sea. So needless to say, we have plenty of mangrove swamp. All right, so mangrove swamps are found along the coast of many tropical countries. Okay, not only we are near sea, near ocean, we are also tropical. Then, okay, tropical is like us lah. Okay, 热带国家. Okay, that means we the countries that rain a lot and very hot, those are tropical countries, like Brazil. The countries that are on the equator, you know, it's the equator, right? Your Earth has this middle line, this middle horizontal line. That's the equator. So any countries that's near the equator, they are tropical countries. For example, Vietnam, okay, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, most of the South American countries, okay, Brazil, even Argentina, even Bolivia, Ecuador, Colombia, they are all tropical countries. Okay, so you in these countries you will see a lot of mangrove swamp. All right, so what are they? They are not same as your beach. Okay, you go to beach, you see sand and coconut tree. Swamp is different. Swamp, you see mud. Okay, it's muddy everywhere. This thing, even you go to like Langkawi, Langkawi is very famous for that swamp. Okay, even Kuala Selangor used to be famous anyway. Okay, before we kind of screw it up. Okay, because of our development and everything. So normal plants cannot grow here due to the moving mud caused by the rising and falling of the tides. Okay, not only, okay, there are two challenges here. Number one is the moving mud. Okay, moving mud. So as you can see, the mud is constantly moving. There's a lot of movement here. Roots, they cannot stay stable. Okay, normal plant, they need normal soil to hold. Here, the mud is moving all the time. They cannot stay still. And of course, next, you have salty water. Okay, salty water. As you know, they are nearby sea or ocean. So seawater is salty. So this makes this place really salty. So not normal plants can survive here. So they have two challenges. Okay, number one, moving mud. Number two, salty water. Okay, so how do they solve this problem? So number one, they will have prop roots. What is a prop root? Prop roots are roots like this. You go to swamp area, you will see their root is like protruding from the ground. It's not like normal plants, okay, normal trees you see from nearby you, okay, I'm sure you go to parks, you see trees. Their roots is like underground. This one, swamp areas, okay, mangrove trees, they have their root coming out from the soil, okay? This is how they increase their area and hold themselves well to the ground, okay? So they cannot do like normal trees and have their root underground because the mud is the mud is constantly moving, so they just hold themselves over the mud. Okay, so they dig into the mud and hold the tree in place. Okay, so this prop root, okay, something about this prop root, they hold themselves very well in the mud, and also because of this reason, they will stop any strong tide. Okay, they will stop any strong tide. This is why mangrove area with all these mangrove trees they can stop all those crazy tides. Okay, if you live nearby swamp areas, you will not see any crazy waves or anything. The water will be very calm because they will absorb all the tide. So you see, mangrove is more important than you think. Okay, they are not just there for without a reason. They are there to absorb the wave. Okay, so we should leave swamp alone. We should leave it as it is. But unfortunately, no lah. We just kind of screw them up. And then of course, next, what is viviparity? Okay, this is a very interesting feature. Okay, you see, normal plants are, okay, for example, apple tree. Okay, apple tree. once they form their apple, okay, once the apple is plucked, you eat it, you throw the seed away, the seed will grow somewhere else. That is called dispersion, if you still remember. Dispersion, disperse is throwing seed somewhere else. So swamp area, mangrove trees, they don't really do the same thing. Okay, instead of throwing the seed away, they will let the seed germinate on them first. It's like your mom taking care of you until you're adult before they kick you out of the house. So something like that. They don't just kick you out the moment you're born. Okay, so viviparity is like seedling, they germinate while they are still attached to the parent tree, grows to a certain length before leaving. So they will let them germinate on the tree. Now they form a baby plant already. Only they will drop off from the parent tree and grow somewhere else. Okay, so why do this? Why do this? Because you see, as I said just now, you have a lot of mud here. So for a seed to drop into the mud and grow into a tree, it's a very big challenge here. It's quite literally impossible. So instead of throwing the seed out and let them die, okay, mangrove trees, they're very smart. They just let their seed germinate first. Now they're like little baby already, small kid already, and then they will drop them on the ground here. Now they have a higher chance of survival. You see, this is a very special feature of them called viviparity. Okay, viviparity. You only see this in mangrove trees. You don't see this in other trees. Okay, because they need to adapt to this swamp area. All right, so pretty amazing if you ask me. Okay, they have prop roots, they have viviparity, okay, which you don't see every day. You only see this in swamps. All right, so that's our swamp. Nothing really much to say here. Okay, next, tropical forest. Okay, very interesting stuff here. Okay, as you know, tropical forest is one of the biggest forests, one of the most vibrant forests in the world. Okay, one of the forests that contains the most organism, okay, the most living things. So like Malaysia here, okay, we are considered as something what we call a mega biodiversity country. What does it mean? That means Malaysia has one of the most types of species in the world. In the world, for such a small country, Malaysia, we have that many species of animals and plants in our forest. So, okay, that's pretty amazing. So tropical forests, you see plants here, they need to adapt to tropical forest as well. So just now, mangrove is prop root and viviparity. So now tropical forest is totally another environment. So animals and plants here, okay, plants mostly, they have their own ways of surviving here. So for example, number one, the tropical rainforest is one of the most optimal place for plant to live due to warm climate, abundance of sunlight and water. Okay, so tropical forest is the best place to live, most optimal, the best. Okay, because we have our weather is very good. Okay, warm climate, 30 something degrees, abundance of sunlight. We receive sunlight year long. We have plenty of water because we have rainfall year long. Okay, so you might say, so then this is a very good environment for living, right? Okay, this is a very optimal place for living, right? Why do they still need adaptation? Because you see, tropical forest is very suitable for plants to live. That means it will have more plants living here. Okay, when you have more plants living here, that means you have more competition lah. Okay, it's like saying, okay, KL is one of the best places to live because you have a lot of amenities here, a lot of working opportunities here. Transport is very good here. I mean, compared to kampongs lah. So that means you have more people living here. When you have more people living here, you have higher standard of living. You have higher cost of living. Same thing. Okay, just because rainforest is a very good place to grow doesn't mean it's easier. No, okay, because now you have more competition. You see just now, mangrove tree, there's not much competition. There's only mangrove tree here. But for here, our tropical rainforest, there's much more, many more species of animals or plants you need to compete against so that you can survive. All right, so it is also due to these favorable conditions. So many plants grow here to the point that the taller ones usually form a canopy, blocking sunlight from reaching the ground. Okay, so what is a canopy? Canopy is like a roof. Okay, I'm sure when you go to certain wedding, okay, certain some people, I'm sure sometimes your neighbor will have like birthday party, they will build a temporary roof, like a tent thing in front of their house, right? That's called a canopy. Okay, so what is a canopy in the rainforest? Okay, if you go into a rainforest, you look up, you will see things like this. Okay, you will see things like this. Can you see? Not 1 inch is not covered by tree leaves. Can you see? Every sunlight yeah, maybe some sunlight can come through, but most of the sunlight is covered by tree leaves. Okay, because competition, you see, this large tree is competing with another large tree, so they will grow as many leaves as possible to kind of outcompete the other further. So now you see, yes, very good for growing, but only the tall trees will win. If you are a very short grass or fern, you will definitely die because you don't receive any sunlight, right? So just because you have better environment doesn't mean you can grow better, okay? Because you face more competition too. So many shorter plants or germinating seed that fall to the ground die due to the lack of sunlight. So if you drop your seed to the ground, chances are they won't survive because you haven't even grown tall enough to receive sunlight. You are already dead, okay? Because it's quite practical. It's practically impossible for you to get sunlight without growing as tall as the trees here. All right. So in this case, you have a plant called strangler figs. Okay, strangler figs. Okay, this is a very fascinating plant. Okay, so what they do is, okay, so they know they are weak, right? Okay, they are not as good as all these tall trees, right? What they do is they will find a tall tree and then they will start germinating. And while they germinate, they don't need to do photosynthesis. They don't grow any leaves or whatever. They will just climb onto one tall tree and suck their nutrient. Okay, they will suck their nutrient. So this is like a parasite thing. So strangler figs are adapted to live in this condition. So the seed germinate high up a mature tree to obtain sunlight. So you see, they will grow around a tree. They will surround them. Okay, and then the plant roots grow to the ground to get water and nutrient. So they will grow to the ground as well and compete with this tree for nutrients and water. And then as they grow bigger and taller and they start to suck more nutrient from the tree in the middle will start to die. Okay, because they suck all the nutrient away. What you do your photosynthesis, I'm going to suck all your nutrients away. You see, brutal, isn't it? So they will suck all their nutrients, suck and suck and suck, and then the plant grows the plant grows big enough and kill the tree it has grown around. So they just kind of surround them, suck the nutrient away, and the middle tree they die. Okay, when they die, they rot away. Now the middle becomes empty. You see, this is why when you go to if you have been to a rainforest before, if you see like an empty tree, okay, you see a tree, but the middle is empty, that's the strangler figs. Okay, that's the strangler fig. They already killed the tree inside. Okay, if the tree is still inside like here, that means they are on the way there. They are killing this tree, on the way killing it. So they just kind of suck the nutrient away. You leave it there long enough, maybe 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, okay, as time goes by, the tree will start to die and then it will start to rot, and then you get a empty middle stick here. Okay, strangle figs. Now you see, they use a smart way to counter this problem. They know that they cannot compete with all these tall trees for sunlight because they are very tall. So what they do instead, they will just leech onto the big tree, suck away their nutrient and kill them slowly. You see, nature is a very brutal place. It's a very scary place. So that's how they do it. Okay, strangler fig. Very special stuff. Okay, so you might say strangler figs is a very brutal, very cruel tree, isn't it? But hey, this tree is very important. Okay, in fact, it is so important we call it a keystone species. Please highlight this word. What is a keystone species? Okay, keystone is something really important. Okay, very important. Like you heard people say, a good breakfast is a keystone to health. That means if you eat healthily, okay, it is the keystone, a very important part of you being healthy. All right, so this strangler figs is a keystone species. That means without this fella, a lot of species is going to die. A lot of species depend on them to live. Okay, more than you know. So what is keystone species? As I already explained here, keystone species is the one that helps the survival of a large number of other species. Okay, that means many birds will live here, many let's say squirrel, they will live here. Okay, other plants they grow around them, many birds they will grow on here. You see, one species they are tied to the survival of many other species. We will call that a keystone species. Okay, that means if this fella were to die, many species would have died as well. So that's the meaning of keystone species. All right, so they produce fruits, when other plants are not doing so, providing food supplies to many herbivores. That means when it's a dry season, many trees that are not producing food, they are doing so. Okay, so they just keep all the squirrels living here and all the birds living here, they keep them well fed for year long. You see? So yeah, they are very cruel. They kill many tall trees. But hey, they play a very important part in an ecosystem, okay, in the tropical rainforest. All right, so you go to Malaysia rainforest, you'll see a lot of this, okay, strangle figs. All right, anyway, so this is our rainforest. Okay, so many other species will be affected if strangler figs were removed. Okay, this point should be up here. Okay, sorry, why is it jump down here? I don't know. So next, let's look at Arctic. Okay, let's look at cold countries. What happened in cold countries? So cold countries, you have many types. You have spruce tree. Okay, a type of conifer lives here. You know it's a conifer, right? Conifer is a Christmas tree lah. Okay, like your pine tree. Okay, so very easily noticeable is by their leaves. Okay, you see their leaves is like needle. So that's your Christmas tree lah. That's your conifer. So adaptation of spruce tree, they have needle-like, okay, waxy leaves. Not only the leaves they are like needle, they are also very waxy. That means they have a thick layer of wax on it. Why? Because surrounding is very cold, very dry. This is to reduce water loss. So water just doesn't simply evaporate away and then they just die because of lack of water. Okay, they have a wax coating them. Just like cactus lah. Cactus does the same thing. They have a thick layer of wax covering them. All right, so as groundwater is usually frozen. Okay, so tall, narrow, sloping branches, why are they shaped like this? This is to prevent too much snow buildup, which might break them. The snow can easily slide off. This is why your Christmas tree looks like this. Okay, this is so that the snow can just slide off them. This is like our roof design. Why do you think our roof is like this? So that water can slide off, so that snow, okay, we don't have snow here, so that snow can slide off roof, so that the roof just doesn't collapse like this. Same thing lah. This is how they are built like this, so that snow can slide off, so that they can stay lightweight, so that they don't just collapse and die. Okay, so that's your Arctic. As you can see, we are not studying many types of species here. We are only studying the mangrove tree, okay, the strangler figs, and of course the spruce tree. Because like I said, we can't be studying all because you have many thousands of types of trees. Okay, we are only picking the three most famous example here. All right, so let's look at other examples. Okay, so as you can see here, a weed is a plant that grows between crops and compete for light, water, and nutrient. What is weed? Weed is 杂草. Okay, those unwanted grass growing between your crop, the things that you don't want, those are weed. Okay, they are like a pest. They will compete with your crop. Okay, let's say now you're planting durian, they will go and take away the nutrient from the soil, so your durian tree will start dying. So they are like pest plants. Okay, so they will compete with your crop. Okay, now let's say you're planting a carrot they will compete with your carrot for light, water, and nutrients. So your crops, they don't really grow very well. Okay, so here's the thing, weed is very hard to get rid of. Okay, unless you can use your hand and then pluck one of them each by each, then it will be a very time-consuming process really. So weed is a very headache plant to get rid of. And not only that, they are annual plants. Okay, what does it mean? Annual means 1 year. That means 1 year or less than a year, they will germinate, grow, produce seed, and die. Okay, 1 year they will do one cycle. So they easily die and they easily live and they produce in very large number. Okay, not only that, their seeds can survive for a long period of time in unfavorable conditions like dry extreme climate. That means if there's sun for like let's say 3 months without any rain, all your crops will die because of dehydration, isn't it? There's no more water, your crops will die. The weed look like they died, but they are not. As long as the root is still there, they are storing the food away. So now next time when it rains, when water comes again, they will start growing again. You see, so this is why weed is a very headache plant. It's very hard to get rid of them. Even you dry them up, they're not going to die. Okay, unless you put pesticide you put herbicide that's another story. Okay, when you put herbicide, not only you kill the weed, you also kill your crops. So they are very headache. So the only effective way to get rid of them is to use your hands slowly, one by one, to pluck them out. This is what the farmers do Okay, very troublesome. Okay, so that's for our plants. Nothing really much to say here. Okay, so in your exam, they could ask you for other plants, okay, but more or less, they will be related to these three. Okay, they'll be related either to the mangrove, either to the tropical rainforest, or either to the Arctic. Okay, they will somehow be related to this. Okay, even you see a different plant in exam, okay, they are usually tied to this, so don't you worry. Okay, so anyway, let's look at other example. Let's look at animal adaptation. Okay, so just now we finished our plant already. Let's look at animals now. So animals, again, we cannot be studying all. So we are only looking at a few examples here. Okay, we look at desert, we look at sea, we look at soil, we look at treetops. Okay, and let's see what happens. So let's look at number one. This Arabian oryx. Okay, this is a very awesome. They kind of look like a goat, okay, but they are like a desert goat. Okay, instead of having horn like this, they're very long horn. Okay, you only see this mostly in Middle Eastern area. Okay, you don't see this in Malaysia because they survive in the desert. All right, so how do they adapt to the environment? Number one, they are able to survive with very little water. You see, most animals that live in the desert, they are not afraid of drying up because they can store water in their body and they themselves don't require a lot of water. For example, camel. Okay, even very little water, they can survive. All right, and then of course they travel in herds to follow rainfall. They still rain in the forest. It's just that it's very rare. So where the rain goes, they will follow. Okay, they will follow. They will somehow know where is the rain going to be next. Something just follow, and then they will feed at night to reduce water loss by evaporation. Rest in the shade during the day. That means they will only go out to eat at night because it's cool. So because you see, when they eat, they need to eat in the middle of the sand ground. That means you have sun right on top of you. So to stop that, to stop water from drying them up, they only do that at night. And then during the day, they will hide in the shade. Okay, that means under the tree or any shade lah, you will see them hiding there. Okay, because that's simply more efficient. They can't be going out at daytime to eat because they will just die because of thirst, okay, or dehydration. And you see, this is called thinking smart. So not only that, they will make dent in sand and lie in to conduct body heat to the ground. That means if they are resting underneath a tree, they will dig sort of like a small pit, a small hole, and then they will sit inside there, and then they will let the sand, because sand is conductive. So they will sit in the sand, let the sand carry their heat away. This is how they cool themselves down. Okay, it's like hippo lah. How do hippos cool themselves down? They bathe in river water. So this one, there's no water in the desert. So what they do? They will just dig a hole, they sit inside there. Okay, pretty cute, isn't it? All right, so next, large hooves to prevent from sinking into soft sand, decrease pressure. Hoof is the leg lah. They have very wide area. Okay, it's like a lorry. Okay, have you seen those big lorries? They have very wide tire because wide tire means you have lower pressure. When you have lower pressure, you don't sink into the ground, so you can walk easier. That's what happens. So the large hooves is to prevent from sinking into the soft sand, so they don't just sink into the soft sand. It's like you wearing snowshoe lah. Okay, if you have been to a winter country before, they will wear something called a snowshoe so they can walk on snow without sinking their feet to the ground. All right, and then of course, they have light colored fur to help reflect radiation from the sun. This is like you going to the sun. Okay, what's the most stupid t-shirt to wear under the sun? That will be a black t-shirt because black t-shirt will absorb sunlight and you will feel very hot. You will get heat stroke. So the best thing to do is to wear white color t-shirt because when you wear white color t-shirt, they don't really absorb that much heat, so it keeps them cool. You see, this is like nature's smart design. They just somehow know how to grow. See, so this is adaptation. Not everyone has this. These are like their special feature to help them survive better in the desert. Okay, you think desert very easy to survive? Okay, there's not much water, there's not much food. Okay, but they can survive there. They have been surviving. If they are there, okay, you see this Arabian oryx is there. That means they have been surviving there for like thousands of years without any problem. Okay, so next let's look at sea lion in the sea. So what happens here? So how does sea lion survive in the sea? They have streamlined body to help them swim. What is a streamlined body? That means, okay, have you seen a bullet before? Okay, a bullet is like sharp at front, okay, so that when the air moves through them, they can just slide over. This is called streamline. Okay, like your aeroplane is a streamline shape. Okay, your car is a streamline shape. That means they cut the wind in a very smooth shape so that it doesn't slow them down. Same thing. So sea lion, they have a small head, and then can you see their body is like smooth? So when water moves through them, it's like go through them very smoothly so that it doesn't slow them down. So that they can swim faster. Now see, streamline shape. And then next they have flippers to help them propel water. You see their legs and their feet is like flipper. Okay, it's like you go scuba diving, you wear a flipper shoe, right? To help them swim, to help you swim, right? Same thing lah. Okay, it's like frogs lah, same thing lah. They have like web feet and web hands. They help them swim. So that's the flipper lor. So they can hold breath underwater. Okay, they are mammals, but they cannot breathe underwater, but they can hold their breath. It's just like whales lah. Okay, whale, they will just come out every day and then they will inhale, exhale, and then they go back down again. So they only need to breathe once or twice per day. So this is what they do. And of course, they have sharp teeth to kill prey. Okay, they are predators. Okay, sea lions, they eat fishes. Sometimes they even eat penguins. So they will. This is how they be a predator, because they have good eyesight and then they have sharp teeth, so that they can tear their meat easier. Okay, most predators have sharp teeth. Okay, I'm sure you know this. Anyway, next one. Let's look at the one in the soil, which is our earthworm. Okay, so as you know, earthworm, they live in the soil. Okay, why? Because they have long, slim, smooth body. They can slide easily through the burrow. Burrow is where they go through before lah. Okay, so they will just burrow through the soil, and then you'll see a track they leave behind. That's the burrow. And then there are bristles called setae to help them grip the burrow. What is setae? Setae is like a finger. If you look at earthworm, they have like mini, tiny fingers here, so that they can grab the ground and move forward. Okay, so that they can have friction. So this is what they do lah. Okay, so this is in the soil. Not many things can live in the soil, but earthworm can. Okay, because they have the correct adaptation. Okay, next, let's look at our ancestors. Okay, which is monkey. Can you see monkeys? They're really similar feet as us. Okay, of course, ours is not that big lah. All right, so how do monkeys move at treetops? Monkeys, they don't really come to the ground because number one, they have small and lightweight body. That means they can swing here and there. Okay, you are from the ancestors. Our ancestors were monkeys. This is why we are also the same thing. We are very active. We just jump around, okay? Because basically we are just civilized monkeys. Okay, monkeys who have knowledge. So we are the same. So they allow them to climb on branches. Okay, so can you climb on branches? No, because why? We already evolved. Okay, we already evolved. If you look at your hands, okay, this is a test. If you press your thumb and your pinky together, and then you do this, can you see this protruding bone? Okay, this protruding bone. Some of you have it, some of you don't. Because why? This is the remnants of our ancestors. Our ancestors last time, okay, our ancestors were chimpanzees. Okay, they know how to climb trees. This is the muscle that helps them climb trees. Okay, so now after millions of years of not climbing trees, this feature kind of fade away already. But some of us still have this. Okay, so this is what we call evolution lah. Okay, we evolve. Okay, we don't know how to climb trees anymore. Okay, so some of us, we still have this. We haven't evolved yet. So this is a very special feature we leave behind. Okay, so now if I ask you to climb tree, can you climb tree? No, because we haven't been doing so for like millions of years already. We already adapted to walking on flat ground compared to swinging on treetops. So we cannot do that. So next, they have opposable thumb and big toe. What does it mean? That means their thumb and their toe they are like opposite direction. This is to help them grip the branch and then they can swing. We don't have this. Our toes, they are just like 5 arranging nicely together. It's not like this. So that we can grip the branch. Can you grip a stick using your leg? I'm sure you can't, because our leg already changed their shape because we have been walking so much. We have been walking for a few 100,000 years. Our feet just start to change shape already. So we cannot use our feet to grip branches anymore. Okay, even when you have a pencil drop to the ground, you want to use your leg to grip the pencil, it's extremely difficult, okay, because we just don't have the feature anymore. Okay, next, they have forward overlapping vision. This is what we call stereoscopic vision. Okay, just like a tiger. If you look at tigers, if you look at cats, you look at lions, they have both eyes in the front. Why do this? Because when you have both eyes in the front, you can judge distance accurately. Okay, it's the opposite of, let's say, goat. If you look at goats, you look at chicken, they have their eyes at the side of the head. Okay, so they cannot see things accurately because they don't need to. Whereas us, we need to because we need to climb trees. Okay, for monkeys, they need to so that they can swing from one tree to another tree without falling down, so that they can grip something accurately. This is why they have this overlapping vision. And of course, they have tails. A monkey's tail is to help them keep balance. Okay, some of them can grip branches, but the main point is balance. Okay, why do you think cheetah has such a long tail? Okay, you know cheetah, right? Cheetah has a very long tail, right? Because cheetah is one of the fastest animal in the world. So as they sprint, as they try to catch a prey, as they run really fast, they need that thing to balance behind them so that they just don't swing around and cannot run straight. The faster, it's like a sports car. The faster your car is, you need a better stabilizing system. So same thing as a cheetah, they can run very fast, so their tail sort of act like a balancing system, a counterweight to help them move forward in a very nice straight line. See, adaptation again. So cheetah can run very fast, that's why they have a long tail. Okay, lions and tigers, they don't run as fast, that's why they don't have such a big and long tail. You see, adaptation. All right, so let's look at some extreme adaptation. Okay, not everyone has this. These are extreme cases. So number one, pebble plant. I'm not sure whether you've seen this before. Okay, I have a friend who the mom is really interested in collecting this type of plant. It just kind of looks like a brain to me. I just think it's very disgusting. But hey, some people like this. All right, so this is a pebble plant. Why is it called pebble plant? Because they look like pebble. Pebble is stone. So when they are on the ground, you just don't pay them attention because they just kind of look like a stone to you. Okay, but they are not a stone. Okay, so if you don't look at this, that means they are successful. That means they successfully cheated your eyes. Okay, they already camouflage, then you cannot see them. So they have camouflage, they look like stones, small spherical leaves to store water and reduce water loss to surrounding. You see, very awesome. They have this pebble looking shape so that you don't pay them any attention, so that you don't just step on them and kill them. So would you go and step on a stone? No, you won't. So they just kind of look like a stone to survive. All right, next, what is pit viper, or we also call this green viper? This is a very venomous snake. Okay, so they have two pits, they have two holes in front, packed with heat-sensitive receptor used to detect prey. You see, our nose can only smell. For a snake like pit viper, not only their nose can smell, they can also detect heat. So this is how they know where their prey is. Okay, so used to detect prey. Overlapping vision to judge distance of prey, has fangs and venom. You see, they also have overlapping distance, just like our monkeys. Okay, most predators, okay, let me tell you, most predators, they have overlapping vision. Okay, like I said just now, lion lah, cats lah, what else, wolves lah, dogs lah, they all have front vision, overlapping vision, so that we can see things accurately, so that we can catch our prey easily. Okay, and then they have fangs and venom. Okay, fang is like their teeth. Venom means they're poison. Okay, they are venom. So here's the thing: the smaller a snake is, the more venomous they are. Okay, because they need to. Like if you look at a python, they have zero venom because they don't need to. They're so big size, they just coil around you and just crush your bone and you'll be dead. Whereas small snakes like this, they have no such ability, so they need very strong venom to paralyze you and kill you. So the smaller the snake, the more poisonous or venomous they are. So don't mess with them. Okay, this pit viper is nothing to be messed with. Okay, even you look at their color, when you see a bright color animal, usually it's not a good sign. That means they are very venomous or very poisonous. Okay, it's just like a mushroom, so don't mess with them. Okay, anyway, so let's look at our tumbleweed. I'm sure you watch some cowboy movies, you see this rolling weed around. So that's the tumbleweed. So why do they roll around desert? This is how they spread their seed. Okay, so the breaking off shoots full of seed in the wind. So as wind blow, they will break their seed, and then the seed will just drop as they roll, so that they can spray their seed everywhere. So when the condition is good, when it starts raining, when there's water, they will start germinating, and then they will form another tumbleweed. So this is how they work. Okay, this is how they keep their species surviving. Okay, and of course, flying fish, this is a pretty crazy animal. They have long and wide front fins to help propel them into air, escaping from the predator. Okay, like their dolphin fish. So this thing, they cannot really fly very far, but they can certainly jump out. Okay, they can jump out and they can stay in air for like a few seconds before dropping down. Okay, so this is not really flying. This is what we call gliding. They can glide for a few seconds. It's like when you jump down from a plane and you open your parachute, that is not flying, that is gliding. So these flying fish, technically speaking, they don't fly, they glide. Okay, they will just jump out and then they will slowly glide down back to the water. Okay, but still pretty amazing. So this is how they escape from predator. Because when they jump out in the air, the predator cannot follow, so they just kind of leave them behind lah. All right, so that's it for our 2.1 and 2.2. Okay, really easy stuff. Okay, nothing really much to say here. And as I said, in this part, you have thousands of types of plants and animals. I can never predict what's going to come out in exam. Okay, but you use your common sense. Okay, you use your common sense. Okay, let's look at our question and see. Okay, because like I said, you see, now what are they asking for? They're asking for snowy egret. Egret is this thing that lives nearby ocean, nearby shore. So if you ask me, I've not seen this before either. Okay, so let's look at their adaptation. So this is a snowy egret which is adapted to live in wet places. So describe 3 adaptations that helps the egret to live in its habitat. For each adaptation, explain how it helps the egret to survive. So what adaptations do you see? This one, you just use your common sense. From what I see here, I see that they have long feet. Okay, long feet so that they can walk around easier in muddy area, because they live in wet places, what? And then they have long beak so that they can eat fishes easier. And from what I see, they have white feather so that they don't absorb that much heat. You see, easily you can see 3 features here. So this is more towards a general knowledge question. So what's the adaptation here? Number 1, they have long beaks. Okay, so able to catch fish easily. Okay, so that's the first adaptation. Next, they have white feather. Okay, this is to reduce heat absorption. Okay, so they don't get hot. And next, they have long feet. Okay, so that they can walk easier on ground. All right, so you compare to those animals with short feet, like you look at pigeons, can pigeons walk? No, they can only slightly walk a few steps before they start flying again. But this one, egret, they can walk. It's just like ostrich lah. Why do you think ostrich can walk? In fact, I don't think ostrich can fly. They can only walk because they have very long feet. So long feet makes you easier to maneuver around. I see that's another adaptation again. You can even say they have web feet. Okay, web feet so that their feet don't sink to the ground. Can also see many adaptations. You see, even though I've not seen egret before, but just by looking at them, I can roughly know what's the adaptation. Okay, so next, this Dimetrodon, okay, this is a extinct species lah. It's like a big reptile. Okay, it was a dinosaur, by the way, that lived about 280 million years ago. So the habitat was warm, low-lying wetland areas. The drawing shows that what we think about the Dimetrodon might look like. So this is just a guess how they look like. We found their bones. Okay, we found their bone. But how do they look like? Okay, this is just an imagined one. Okay, it's just like T-Rex lah. How do we know that T-Rex has such a short arm? Okay, such short arms because their bones say so. Okay, so anyway, describe one adaptation visible in the drawing that suggests Dimetrodon was a carnivore. How do you know they're a carnivore? Carnivore means they eat meat lah. Very easy. You just look at their claw. You just look at their teeth. By looking at the teeth, you will know it's a carnivore. Okay, you look at tigers, you look at lions, they have sharp teeth. Obviously, they're a carnivore. Okay, so it's their sharp teeth. Okay, so why have sharp teeth? You need to describe, okay, so that they can tear meat apart easily. Okay, like cats not only their teeth are sharp, they even have spiky tongue. Okay, have you seen a cat's tongue before? They have like spikes on it. So when a cat licks you, you can feel your skin hurt because they just the spike just kind of brush through your skin. Okay, so don't let a lion or a tiger lick you, okay, because their tongue is full of spikes. It's gonna hurt. Okay, so because they're carnivore, this helps them to tear the meat apart. So next, C, fossil skull of Dimetrodon show that it has a large, strong bone in its head for the attachment of its jaw. So they have strong head and strong jaw muscle, suggests how this adaptation could help it survive. Okay, so why do they have such a strong jaw and strong muscle and everything? Okay, this is to have strong biting force. Okay, so that they have strong bite or biting force. So how does it help it survive? Okay, so that they can chew meat easier. So you look at those, for example, crocodile. Crocodile, they have very strong jaw. This is to help them eat. So that to help them crush the animals they eat. So this is why they have such a strong jaw. So D, no one really knows why Dimetrodon has a huge sail. Now, what's the sail? Sail is this thing. Okay, so you might say, so what's the function of this thing? Many scientists are still guessing, but most they guess that this thing is to help them dissipate heat. It's to help them cool down. Okay, because this is like a fan. It's like, okay, it's like this. When you see a rabbit or a fox that has long ears, that means that is to help them dissipate heat. That's why you look at those desert fox, they have very long ear. So by logical assumption, this is also the same function to dissipate heat away. Okay, so scientists think that it could have helped to warm the dinosaur up so that it could begin to be active early in the morning. Okay, so not only it warms them up during cold, it also cools them down during hot. So suggest how a Dimetrodon would have to behave in order to use a sail to warm its body. Okay, so how do they warm the body? So they will open the sail. Okay, open the sail. Why? Because they will absorb heat from surrounding. Okay, and this will cool the body down. Okay, this is just a guess, just a guess, because no one has seen this before. Okay, this is 280 million years ago. Human beings, we are barely a million years old. Okay, you see, from the first monkey, first chimpanzee until now, first chimpanzee didn't appear until like 1 million years ago. We only managed to enter Paleolithic around 200,000 to 300,000 years ago. That's a long time. For us, it's very long. But for this one, yeah, you see, it's even longer. Okay, 280 million years ago is crazy long amount of time. Okay, so they have long extinct. Nobody have seen them before. Nobody know how they behave. All these are just guessing. Okay, it's just like during the Jurassic era. Okay, what dinosaur appeared there? How do they behave? How is even the air quality last time? Nobody knows. Okay, it's just a guess. All right, so anyway, I think I'm gonna stop here. This is what we learned in the next lesson already. Okay, so that's it for our 2.1 and 2.2. So I hope this video is helpful for you. All right, so if you have any question, okay, don't be afraid to ask. And if you need to watch this video again, please do so. Okay, as I said again, this part is not very important in exam. Just read a few, okay? How do you increase this general knowledge thing? The best you can do is by watching more documentary and practice your common sense, basically. All right, so that's it for today. Okay, hope this video is helpful. I will see you again in the next lesson. All right, so see you. Take care and bye-bye.